I'm just going to have a little talk to you about Reiki and a couple of questions that have been coming to me over the last week or so. I found them really interesting, and I think they're really important for you to understand before you have a Reiki session and definitely before you do any Reiki trainings. So, the first question, which I loved, it was my favorite question that I've ever been asked about Reiki, was, is Reiki scary? So, the answer is yes, Reiki can be scary. It can be scary in a couple of different ways, okay? So, the first way it can be scary because Reiki gives us time and space to stop everything that's happening around us and to look inwards. And that can be incredibly scary because often, if we don't look inwards enough and we don't acknowledge what's going on inside for us, because there's emotions there or there's like memories there that we just don't want to deal with because they feel too, it's just easier to ignore them for the time being. So when we stop in a Reiki session and we start to feel certain sensations and we're like, what's that? And then maybe we realize, oh, that's that feeling that I've been trying to push down and push away for years, and now it's coming back up, and I'm in a Reiki session and it's really obvious now that that feeling is there, and there's nothing else to distract me. There's no, like, I can't scroll through Instagram, or there's nowhere else to put your focus really only on that, this feeling or something that's arising within you. So in that way it can be scary. However, I will say that Reiki not only allows you the time and the space to look at those things that are going on inside for you, but it also allows you to look at them with love and compassion and softness, and it doesn't drag them up in a way that is too overwhelming. There are some practices that will make you acknowledge those feelings like a slap in the face. Reiki tends to have a softer approach. So it's kind of like just softly telling you that, look, those things are still there, they still need to be dealt with, but we'll slowly look at them and we'll treat them with kindness and compassion, and work on releasing them in a soft and a tender way. So that's the first thing. This Another thing to say about that is, if so Reiki can help on a couple of different levels. Reiki can help physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So if you were to come to a Reiki session to help heal a physical part of your body, so say you had like a reoccurring injury in your wrist, in the Reiki session we would work on setting an intention to bring the energy to this part of the body to help it heal. Now, if it was a more serious injury or condition, like a broken leg or some disease in the body, you can, of course, come to Reiki and it can help to bring the energy to that part of the body and help it to heal. But you're going to want to look at going to a medical doctor as well, or some other therapy that's going to help, maybe physical therapy or different things. You might not only rely on Reiki for something more serious. In that case, it would be a really nice complementary therapy. And the same for emotional discomforts. So if you are going through a really difficult time in your life, of course, Reiki can help, because it can give you some relaxation techniques. It can help you to feel a sense of ease and calm and peace. However, if it's a really serious, like a mental health issue, or if it's a traumatic time in your life that you're going through, you might also need to see, or choose to see, somebody else that can complement what the Reiki is doing, or Reiki can complement the other therapies that you're involved in, such as talk therapy or some other mental health services. So that being said, so yeah, if you're coming to get Reiki done, Reiki can be done on any level. But it is important to acknowledge that if you are going through a serious condition or injury or a serious mental health break or something like that, you probably do need some other modality to support you as well. And the Reiki can be a huge assistance to that. So especially, I mean, I have experience with going to talk therapy, and actually I felt I was unable to go to talk therapy before I had Reiki sessions. I would feel that the words would get to here and my throat would feel like it was physically closing up and the words just weren't able to move through. And then after I had been practicing Reiki for a while, it's the energy started to become freer, and I was able to relax more with the thought of words coming through this space. So yeah, Reiki works really, really well with alongside other modalities. So that's the first way that Reiki can be scary, but obviously has huge benefits as well. Because if you listen to people like Gabor Mate or Basil van der Kolk, there's lots of studies nowadays to prove that, that saying, our issues are in our tissues. When we hold on to emotions or we hold on to traumatic events and we hold them in the body, it can lead to dis-ease in the body. So Reiki is a great way of helping to release any of the stresses or strains that we're holding onto in the body. It's a great way to feel a sense of release and to allow those emotions to move through us. So that's one way. Another way, and a lot of people seem to be quite concerned about this, is the psychic abilities that can come with Reiki. So I've been to a couple of Reiki sessions where the Reiki practitioner is also a psychic. So there are times you will go to people and they will facilitate a Reiki session, and they also might use their clairvoyant gifts in the session as well. So people will have experiences of going to Reiki and then being told, oh, your grandmother was also here to heal you, or there was a spirit guide giving me this message for you, or things like that. So clairvoyancy is separate to Reiki, okay? So it's the same if people use crystals or oils or sound. All these different things can complement Reiki, but they're not Reiki. Reiki is a specific technique used to facilitate the healing. So as a Reiki practitioner, I visualize, and sometimes with my hands, I draw certain symbols that connect me to, or really help me to focus my energy so that I can become more in tune with your energy. And I can pick up on the subtleties of where there might be discomfort in your body. And then things like angel healing or crystal healing or clairvoyant traits, they are separate, but many people do use them because, and I'll go into the clairvoyance in a moment, but things like crystals hold a huge amount of energy. And this crystal in my ring, this is a rose quartz. So this is a really lovely crystal to connect into the heart energy and connect to the energy of love and compassion. And it really, crystals like absorb energy and they hold on to it. So, and different crystals tend to hold on to different types of energies. So if you were to be in a session where someone uses crystals, they might place a rose quartz over the heart area to generate maybe more energy in this area, or help with the clearing or the cleansing of certain types of energies over the heart. That's an example. With the example of clairvoyancy, so when we practice Reiki or any form of meditation, it can be an incredible way to open up our chakras. These are our energy centers, and Reiki does work on the the energy body. So it does help to open up and make our chakras more powerful. Our third eye chakra is the energy that is responsible for us being more in tune with other energies, and spirits are energies. So not everybody that practices Reiki is clairvoyant. I'm certainly not. But it can help us to tap into those types of gifts. It's personally not something I focus on. But if I was to practice and focus on it, I do believe that I could attain some of those gifts. So again, it's like a personal choice. If you're going to see a Reiki practitioner, do you want to include crystal healing, or do you want to be able to receive messages from the spirit world? Well, that will depend on the type of practitioner that you go to. And like I said, for somebody who is then receiving the Reiki, or if you are doing a Reiki training, it is possible that you can train your third eye, or open your third eye, or focus your third eye on being able to see or tune into the energy of spirits. It seems some people are more inclined or more open to that naturally, because everybody is different. We all have different traits and qualities and things like that. So some people are naturally more open to it before they even go to a Reiki session. Some people, have been seeing and hearing spirits all their life. But it is something that you can kind of practice on and focus on and open up to. But for me, it's not something that I have been focused on as of yet anyway. I'm not opposed to it, but it's just not something of interest to my practice at the moment. And it's not something that I incorporate into my sessions, because when you lie down for a Reiki session with me, I don't generally hear or see any spirits or anything like that, because of the practice of Reiki is helping me to connect to your subtle energy. There are times where I might have a feeling or an inclination that you're feeling a certain way, or that, sometimes an idea might pop into my head that makes sense to you. But I don't believe this is necessarily like a clairvoyant trait. I believe that I'm connecting to your subtle energy, that we're working on the same wavelength, and maybe able to understand things in a slightly more telepathic way, but not quite so much, because it's quite subtle. So yeah, it's up to you if you want to go down that road. So because people are often scared. So yeah, it's bringing me back to the idea of, is Reiki scary? For some people, being clairvoyant and seeing spirits or hearing spirits can be very scary. So to know that, yes, Reiki can help you to open up to that. However, it doesn't have to necessarily do that. Doesn't have to do that. And it's not something to be scared about. Reiki is a practice that balances our energies, and it helps us to become more open in many, many different ways, not just our third eye, but it helps us to open our hearts. It helps us to open our third eye is connected to our vision. So it's not just about, okay, I'm going to focus on opening my third eye, I'm going to focus on seeing spirits. No, when we open our third eye, it can help us to visualize what kind of life do we want to create for ourselves. It can help us to see into our own future, and help us to manifest the type of life that we want to create. It can also be a way to help us to kind of see different sides of situations. It can help us to be more open-minded. So yeah, I hope that ramble on helps you to understand why people think Reiki might be scary. And it also just kind of gives you the information. And if it's something that you're interested in, you can go and find out more about it. Or maybe you've just like, no, that confirmed that Reiki is not something that I want to do. But for me, it's been the most wonderful practice that has helped me through many different situations. and I hope that you can find a practice that helps you in your life as well. So if there's any questions, I'd love to hear them. Any other questions like that that can help open up conversations like this, and to really demystify what Reiki is, because Reiki can be seen as this kind of woo woo, kind of very spiritual, very you know, very unable to understand it. Like, and that's why it took me so long to teach Reiki, because for so long I didn't know how to explain what it is. I didn't know how to tell people what Reiki is, and people would ask and I would say, oh, you just need to do it. But actually, it's not fair to expect people to go do something that they don't understand what it is. So hopefully a few more conversations like this will help you to feel more at ease in it, and realize that Reiki is actually a very practical practice that can help in our day-to-day lives.